Will Thomson, a good friend of Launchpad and of Job Seekers Network as well. He is the president and founder of Bullseye Recruiting. So recruiters are the folks that you're always trying to impress. And here we have one right in our midst. He's going to talk about how to market yourself in a ridiculously hot economy. Will is the founder of Bullseye Recruiting, a boutique sales and marketing recruiting agency based in Austin. He started Bullseye in 2014 and has helped place candidates all around the world. Before opening the recruiting agency, he was a corporate recruiter for Dell, eBay, Rosetta Stone, and Balfour. He resides in Austin, lives with his wife, Laura, of 15 years, and his adorable two children who have his same face, Kennedy and Trace. He is also an active board member of the Job Seekers Network here in Austin. Will, take it away.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Kathy, thank you for the introduction, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. When I was asked by Shannon to speak, I thought, what is relevant in 2021 where we can talk about something that you guys can take away from. So hopefully I'll give you, the thing about these talks is if you can have one or two nuggets, one or two takeaways, that's all you need. So my presentation, so we're going to talk about how to market yourself in a ridiculously hot economy. 2020 was a year that we all want to forget. It was hard. I mean, it was the worst year that we ever had as a business. And I was never expecting 2021 to turn out the way it did. It is, I've been recruiting for a long time, and I got to tell you, this is something that I have never seen. So I kind of want to show you some of behind the scenes, what's going on, and how to market yourself in this economy, because it's different for sure. But there's plenty of jobs. There's not as many people hiring as you think. And the nuts and bolts of this presentation is how do we get you in front of the right people to get hired, because there are the openings. It's just a matter of making it happen, right? Okay, so a little bit about me. I mean, I started Bullseye in 2014. I've really enjoyed it. I've worked for all the big companies. I started out at a recruiting agency called Aerotech that Kathy alluded to at the beginning. And then went into work for Dell and eBay and Rosetta Stone. And what I found was I really enjoyed working with a lot more clients. And that's why I started this business. And it's been great. My wife, Laura, and I run it together. It's just a small agency, but we really do like developing those deep relationships. And my focus has been completely sales and marketing. I don't claim to understand technology. It is something that it's beyond me. We do partner with a number of other agencies to help with other roles, but bottom line is if I can help connect you to an opportunity, that's great. The reason I'm involved with job seekers and Launchpad, and I've even spoken at Hired with Chris. I mean, it's because I've been unemployed and understand, how hard it is to be unemployed. In 2008, I had 60 interviews and could not find a job. And groups like this really helped me, build me to who I am. So I want to give back as much as I possibly can. I don't expect anything in return. So if I can help, you grow as a individual or give you a little bit of tidbit, then that's great. Like Kathy said, I have a couple of kids. Kennedy, I have a teenager. She's 13 years old. Trace, he's 10 years old. They both go to Hyde Park here in Austin. I actually went to Westlake here in Austin as a kid and watched the city grow tremendously. I'm a huge Houston Astro fan, so the fact that they won the pennant last night was kind of exciting. And then I love Ole Miss as well. But outside of work, I love to hunt, fish, and we built a pool this past summer, so I love to swim as well with my kids. Um, Reality here, and Austin is really the hottest city on the planet Earth right now, and it isn't cheap to live here at all. And I joke and I talk to a lot of people about this. I mean, but we are hotter than Los Angeles, New York. There are more jobs and more companies moving to Austin, Texas than any place in the United States. And because of that, the housing market is gone crazy. It's almost impossible to find relatively good living, house. For $2,500, you can get a 1-bedroom apartment, which is unbelievable. And I only see this getting worse. I mean, with Tesla and Apple and Samsung and all these things happening in Austin. There's a startup, like Kathy was saying, built in Austin. All these startups are building up presences here, coming from every corner of California, from every country to come live in Austin, Texas. And it's just absolutely crazy. So this is an interesting graph. But as you can see, typically when there was a job, it got filled. And right now in 2020, there are more openings than there are people. And, it is taking a lot longer for companies to hire. And I think there's a number of reasons for this, and we'll kind of go through this, but it's astounding to me that people are not making hires of people that are qualified candidates. And the whole purpose of this presentation is, how can we make sure that with this statistic, I can help you get hired into your role? Because we need people. I can't tell you, I have more job openings than I've ever had in my entire career. And I just don't have the people, but they're great qualified people out there, people that are on this call that need to get back to work. And that's what I want to try to help with. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics says there's 8.4 million potential workers who are unemployed, but it also says there's 10.9 million jobs open. Does that make any sense to you guys? Because to me, that is staggering. We are all fishing from the same pond. Unfortunately, what's happening is the same people are you're stealing Peter to go to Paul. We've got to get more creative here. I mean, it's beginning to be crazy. The rate in which unemployed people are getting jobs is lower than it was before the pandemic, which is unbelievable. And these employers are still unresponsive. So what's happening? It's a crazy market out there. So one thing that's happening is, I'll tell you that, and you guys all in this call can say this, is that HR departments are leaning too heavily on technology. I mean, they're trying to weed out candidates. They're not being creative enough in terms of how they're going to consider these applications. There's all sorts of hiring softwares. There's Indeed, there's LinkedIn, there's ZipRecruiter. AI, artificial intelligence, is looking for keywords. Ageism is never been more. I can't tell you how many times I hear from companies say, "Hey, listen, I am looking for someone that's 22 to 26 years old," and it's crazy. So I would say that it is a quest to find people right now, and that's what we're trying to do. So I think that I'm just going to here to help you try to get that job. So the reality is, COVID's changed all of us. It's changed me. I mean, there's beyond shaking hands and then immediately going to get hand sanitizer, washing your hands, or wearing a mask, or all these things. We've changed. I mean, in our careers, we're doing things on Zoom, which I never thought would happen. And it's less personal. which is hard, right? But when this whole COVID thing happened in 2020, we're rethinking about, our careers. Is this something that, am I doing what I want to do for the rest of my life? We had a lot of time on our hands. I mean, we had a ton of time. So a lot of people are questioning, this is, and I heard this earlier, is this the career path that I want? I mean, I've been in sales for all these years, now I'm trying to do something totally different. Because of COVID, people are wanting these flexible work schedules that, they'll want to work different hours because we have children, we have parents, grandkids, whatever it is, that, they have to be tended to. And it got kind of convenient for us to be able to do these things remotely and on the time schedule we wanted to do. And because of that, that's why there are more openings. This is changing, but I mean, there's more government money than there's ever been as well. I mean, this is at an all-time high. I went to PF Chang's the other day, and the restaurant was 90% empty, and walked in with my family, and they said, "Hey, listen, did you make a reservation?" And I said, "No, we didn't make a reservation." And he said, "Well, it's a 45-minute wait." And I said, "A 45-minute wait?" And then I read this sign saying, "There's nobody here to do your work because there's no one here to serve you." It's really bizarre. I can see a lot of companies out there. There's still a lot of them that want to bring people on site. And that is, there's a lot of scary stuff out there in COVID and the people that have died and been hurt. And, so a lot of people don't want to go back into the office. And now what I'm seeing a ton of is that companies are now requiring vaccinations to go back in the office, and our country's divided. Some people want vaccinations and some people just don't want to have vaccinations, which is crazy. So this is infuriating. So what do we do? I think this is the question that we've got to figure out together is, how are we going to get people that have been out of work that are not being considered in some of the data to help fill these roles that we obviously need to fill, right? So, and my presentation is not that long, but after I finish presenting, I'd like for there to be an open forum of questions and things like that, because this is some really deep information that will probably help you. It's never been more important in this day and age to network. And this is the funny thing is we can't meet face to face typically. So how do you network in a completely virtual world, with people you don't know? And I think the key is, it's just connecting with people as much as you can through LinkedIn, or other social media avenues, and building those relationships. But you really need to get an in with companies. And to my point earlier, with artificial intelligence and everything else, these resumes are getting screened out. So if you don't have the exact experience, you're not even get looked at. And that's really hard to hear, but so how are we going to, get you to know John, who knows Bob, who's the hiring manager? That's the main thing that we want to do here. And it's through relationships. It's through people through the Job Seekers Network. It's through Launchpad. It's through Hired.com, where you meet people and they're connected to someone that may be able to connect you to somebody. But I think that's really important. I see a lot of mistakes recently of people talking about stuff that is irrelevant to the jobs. With people looking for stuff that is so specific, of what they're looking for. It's like they're looking for a 10 out of a 10. Like the economy, there are plenty of people out there, and it's just not a reality. So you really got to say the stuff that is relevant to the job. And we all have had good careers, but I'm going to encourage you to to really think about what skills are relevant to the opening positions. As a recruiter, I typically look at, the open to work. Does everybody know what that is? Where you can do that on your LinkedIn profile. Talking about screening, I mean, that's the way with so many people on LinkedIn right now. I think that you really have to show the open to work, and that way you can get contacted when you need to be. Some of the biggest mistakes I've seen recently from candidates is the lack of research that's done when applying to a job, or even going after a job. I had a candidate just yesterday that, we were going back and forth on LinkedIn, and really he had a pretty good background, but there was a secret sauce to getting hired at this job. And he didn't take the time I offered multiple times to get together, to have a conversation, to tell them what they're looking for, to hire. There's certain questions that each employer asks. There's certain criteria they're looking for, and everybody's criteria is different, right? So when you have to know a lot about the company. I had another candidate just the other day saying, I'm going to take this call and I'm going to ask a lot of questions about their company and how it's working. Well, yes, okay, great. But, I know you're interviewing them. I know you think you're great, but at the same time, they want to know that you've done some research on their company as well. Every company has a different process right now. I mean, some are longer and some are shorter. I think the people that are winning this war for talent are the people that have shorter processes and have them down. I'm seeing it left and right where I'm getting companies that are looking at it and that it's unrealistic expectations. It's long testing. It's 7 or 8 interviews, peer interviews, 2 to 3 months of interviewing. And really and truly, everybody on this call, if that's part of who you're going after as when you're targeted accounts, you better have a full pipeline, because those probably aren't going to come to fruition as quickly, and you will get frustrated as well. I got to say that the one thing that people don't do really well is prepare questions, right? So as you do your research, as you study the companies, really think about some smart, intelligent questions, not like, hey, what series of funding are you in? You could do that on Crunchbase, I mean, not really deep questions like, why did you join here? Or, I'm excited about the product that you offer. I read a news article about the company, tell me a little bit more about the company itself. So come up with some very intelligent questions when you go there. I gotta say, have a cup of coffee, be in a quiet place, be energetic when you're interviewing too, because that's so essential. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I get people rejected for subjective, and not their skills, but because of their lack of enthusiasm. They didn't seem interested in the company or what we did. This is so critical in this time period. I think salary negotiation is something that we want to touch upon, and I know some of you guys have been out of work for a while, and we'll touch upon that as well. But there are candidates out right there now that are getting 3, 4, 5 offers in a matter of a week. So I have never said this, but don't compromise right now. We've talked about the cost of living in Austin. There are companies that are paying the money that you want. If you want $100,000 and they're offering 65, don't compromise. Know from salary.com, know from other companies what they're paying, because I think it's too hot right now to compromise. In 2008 or even in 2020, I would have said take what you can get, but now I'm saying, man, there's something else out there. People are hiring, so it's important to know your value. this is, I would say when you're interviewing, it's, make sure you keep your funnel full. Okay. At all times. It's just like a sales job when you're interviewing. Make sure you have 5 or 6 interviews. And like I talk about, some of these processes are exhaustingly long. So make sure that you have a lot of different options when you're interviewing. Enjoy it while this lasts, guys, because this is not going to be forever. I mean, but right now it's hot. It's really, really, really hot. Um, you're trying to find your match, like you're trying to find your spouse, husband, wife. When you're out there, make sure that you ask the right questions for them as well. I'd say another thing that I'm seeing really frequently is when there is a gap in your resume, I'm hearing a lot of, well, the company just boss left and he was kind of a jerk or what have you. And I think this is easy information that but just be careful about what you say, when you talk about your former employer. I mean, it's important. Let's go back to here. I think this is going to be a key issue that we can talk about for a little bit. I mean, and I think some people on this call may have had a lot of jobs or, had short-term jobs or contract jobs or, those kind of things during COVID and to up till now. And guys, it's okay. I think you just need to have a story, right? Why this happened, did the company go out of business? Tell me about the contract job. Why have you been doing consulting? I think those things are really important. Why you say you're out of work. It's not the end of the world there's a little bit more, there's a lot more grace, between 2019 and today. But if you have been out of work since March of 2020, be prepared to talk about what you've been doing since then. And feel articulated. Did you go back to school? Did you just not anything? But I really haven't done much. You could have traveled. You could have taken care of an elderly parent. You could have done a lot of stuff. I mean, we all had a lot of time to soul search last year. But guys, it's almost 2022 now. So we've got to realize that employers are going to look at these things and say, okay, well, you did some of these things, but what are we going to do moving forward? So with that, I mean, there's a lot of information that I gave you, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions. Let me know what you think about this stuff. And then are you seeing something similar? I mean, are you seeing a lot of job openings, more difficult hiring processes, less hiring? And how are we going to get around this? I mean, that's the main thing. How are we going to make you the hot shot to get hired? The area of focus that we have, like I told you, is sales and marketing. Here's my contact information if you want to take a screenshot of it. But like I said, if you're in a different area other than sales and marketing, I'd be happy to connect to you. I think to the point that I made at the beginning, I mean, this is a virtual world we're living in. If I can help connect the dots with somebody in HR or somebody in recruiting that I may have known, that's what we do here. That's what we do in these meetings and really just try to help you find the right job.
Catherine Jewell has a question.
Hi, Catherine.
Yeah. Hi, it's good to see you, Will.
It's good to see you too.
So I have heard that open to work on LinkedIn, the green band makes you look desperate.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel that?
No. I mean, but do you know how you can do that or
Yeah.
you can just put open to work, in your profile, there's some settings you can do.
Yes.
And I don't care. I mean, if it says open to work or whatever at all.
Okay.
There's also, Catherine, there's also the option where you can say, I'm open to work, but you don't want the green band. You just want recruiters to know you're
Yeah,
open
that's
to
what I was
work.
talking, that's what I was talking
Right.
about.
I know about that setting, but I just wondered, as a recruiter, you are no longer feeling like you don't want to hire people that are unemployed.
Catherine, I need to find people, period. So, I mean, I have so many openings that I don't care. Wait, if you're open to work, then I'm going to talk to you. And I'm not the only recruiter that feels
Okay.
that way. I mean, if you can see my board behind you, it's me. You know?
Okay. So
So, I
the
mean, I don't care.
other question I wanted to ask was about having 10 out of 10 skills. Do you feel like if you have a premium account and it says, okay, you're missing these 3 skills, that you should customize your skills after you have applied? Because it's usually after you apply that LinkedIn tells you, oh, you're missing these 3 skills. Is that a smart thing to do, to constantly be updating your skills? Because what I've noticed is often it's just a word difference. It's not really a skill difference. It's just the way it's expressed.
It's the darn artificial intelligence stuff that we talked about. You know, it's screening people out based upon a keyword. And to my point originally, I mean, I think you just have to know somebody to get through or a connection so you can get getting it through LinkedIn or applying. I mean, it's still that black hole. I mean, and if you don't miss if there's a missing skill, then that they can screen you out. I mean, I would say add it if you feel like you have it.
Oh, absolutely. I would never recommend doing it, but often, I mean, if you don't have the skill, but often it's just a verbiage problem. And
100%.
so I've been recommending to all my clients that, you type in strategic and then pick one of those or even 2 of those to make sure you have yourself covered, but pick the words that LinkedIn suggests or the terms that they suggest.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, in sales, like, for example, a business development representative could mean a lead generation person.
Exactly.
Or it could mean, you are a high profile salesperson that does business development, that is a multi-million-dollar biller. I mean, it is all about keywords, or a strategic account executive or account manager do the same exact thing.
Right.
Or an enterprise account executive. It's just a matter of playing with it, making sure that their job description matches what you're looking for. Because they can say, oh, an account manager, you're really not doing what we're looking for. But yes, you are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you. I also wondered, are you placing anybody in the 200 to 300 range?
All the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So those jobs still exist.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of emphasis, but those jobs take longer. There's a lot of emphasis on the lower roles because no one can fill them. To your point, if you can work at $18.50 at In-N-Out Burger, that's almost $40,000. So there's a lot of jobs out there that are paying $40,000. Like, no, I don't want to do that.